Welcome to Touched and Empowered, a show created to empower individuals to value their lives by hosting think tank discussions that will inspire positive action. Touched and Empowered with Katie and Ace starts now.
Welcome to this episode of Touched and Empowered, where yet again I am Katie introducing Ace, and I'm wondering how many episodes have I done the introduction on now? I think
Really
I've done
good
most of
question.
them.
I am like, it's so funny because you jumped right in, and I was like, I was so ready to do it this time.
Okay, so we're just
But
going to scratch that and you can start it.
oh no, it's okay. I mean, I can do the next recording. Katie did a great job. I love it because Katie is the one who hits the button. So I know when we're starting, ladies and gentlemen.
Our...
And it's we're gonna go natural on this. We're gonna say whatever's on our hearts today because I feel like every time we try and do another topic, it's good. We're able to kind of go through and figure out what we're talking about. Then we go on our tangents, and then it all comes back to center.
And yet somehow we managed to get it to come back to center. Not always, but you know what? That's okay because that's the beauty of conversation.
Authenticity.
Yes, authenticity is a part of it too. But one of the things that I found is there are so many scripted conversations. And sometimes it's really important to have a scripted conversation. Yeah. We use a script for the Teen Suicide Prevention Society. There's a reason we use a script. It's because we want to use neutral language.
Yes.
However, there are times you can't go by a script.
No, and that was carefully coordinated too. That specific script is so well thought out.
Well, with it, it's based, I mean, we made sure it had neutral language so people would not be triggered by it. We made sure that it is based on neuroscience, how the brain really works, and how to be able to take someone from thinking about suicide, because it is a scripted conversation, it is a planned conversation, and the question we ask is, are you aware of the rise of teen suicide? Have you heard of the rise in teen suicides? So you know the person's going to be thinking about suicide because we brought up the word. But we carefully take and flip them from thinking about suicide to thinking about their reasons for staying.
Exactly. Quickly.
Very quickly, within 4 questions. Yeah. So it's all about the purpose of having a script versus having a conversation with someone. You can't script a conversation with someone because you don't know what the other person is going to say. In this script, I know exactly what the answer is going to be. It's going to be yes or no, or give me a reason for staying.
There you go. And that's great. All right. So let's talk
if
about...
only the rest of the conversation in our lives were that easy.
You can make it that easy. Oh, all right.
Yes, you okay.
Let's talk about scripting, unscripted, free flow dialogue. Like this is actually really important. So I kind of love that you talked about how you have a script that you curated and then you've developed, because the way that script addresses something that people don't normally know how to address.
Right. It's a tough conversation.
Yes. And it is a very good conversation to have. And it gives you the communication tools to understand how to give that conversation, right?
Yes.
You're good. It's awesome. So I remember these scripts are sometimes really necessary. These communication tools in your back pocket are very necessary. All right. So back in the day, I used to be a philanthropy journalist for a blog called Celeb Secrets. We'll probably put them down in the
notes. Okay.
Celebsecrets.com. And if you look up Ace, I have no, like, there at the time I was working at a talent agency and I wasn't sure if I was like doing a conflict of interest, you know what I mean? And then eventually we found out that I wasn't doing a conflict of interest.
Well, that's good. That makes life easier.
Yeah, I was perfectly fine to do anything creative because I was in finance. So while I was actually at this journalist event, right? It was actually, I was late. I was really late. And I had this intern that I was just, it was his first day interning for me. Oh, thank you so much, by the way. I really appreciate you. I was like, I'm going to be late. I'm going to give you 3 questions that you're going to ask each person down the red carpet and just record it. Okay. He was like, oh, okay. So I texted him the 3 questions. He gets there. It's the freaking like, it's the red carpet for Disenchantment on Netflix. So he's talking.
Oh my goodness.
He's talking to the founders of The Simpsons, and his first day working for me, I was like, "Hey, so thanks so much. Like, did you?" And just record it on voice memo on your phone. Don't worry, they've done this all the time. And if they give you a weird eye, just keep going with the questions. It's perfectly fine. They'll be very happy by the 3rd question. So.
Talk about setting the stage.
I set him up for success. He was great. He can interview anyone now if he wants to and like feel calm. He was like talking to he was talking to the Josh Weinstein, who was one of the like original creators of The Simpsons. Like, hey, what do you think? Like reading it as he's interviewing. And you know what? It built his confidence. He can do it now with anyone.
That is fantastic. And sometimes you need that script to get you started,
Yeah, that's all.
to help you build that confidence, to get you going. And then you can interview like nobody's business because nothing can shake you.
Yeah.
And nope, I'm going to interrupt you because if it does shake you, you know how to hide it.
Hear his voice. He wasn't hiding it, but it was okay. It was okay. It was like as long as he asked the question, it didn't matter. It's funny. So like when you're a lot of people think when you're in journalism and you're asking these questions, right? You have to be very composed and blah, blah, blah. It's like I saw some of the best writers not be that composed.
That's only how they show it in movies.
Or if you're a host, if you're like hosting a show,
right?
Then you kind of have to have that stage presence. That's fine. But these are people with a recorder asking you a question. People aren't going to see like so that was kind of something that I kind of knew, but I was just like I didn't think of it. I was so busy that I didn't even think about it. I was just like, hey, you're going to be fine. Here's the 3 questions. Go.
From somebody who does not have a journalist background, knowing that there were other people watching me while trying to do a 3-question interview, recording it on my cell phone, I can imagine I probably would have sounded very nervous at first until I got to like the 4th or 5th person. Exactly. And then it would have been like, okay, I'm just asking the same questions over and over and over again.
That's all you need. That was all you need. So I remember the very first, I've done a few, and it's a few interviews. And it's funny because I've learned people don't expect me to do well on these things, and I've been doing them since I was like 17.
I don't know why you would think that people expect you not to do well at this.
Because they haven't seen me before.
Okay, so I can see where not knowing who is interviewing you could give that limiting belief.
Or the people on the red carpet. Usually when you first see me, I understand. I look unassuming. I look soft and sweet and kind.
You look tiny.
5'2" as well. Yes, I look tiny.
That's why you look tiny. Is because I know you're 5'2".
Funny enough, the CEO of Twitter is 5'2" as well. Darn it. Anyways, so
short people rock.
Yeah, we do. Otherwise, you wouldn't come near us. We wouldn't be good. Like, imagine this personality in a big person body. You'd be scared.
One of my best friends is like 4'9", so I completely get it. And she is a powerhouse. Oh my gosh, she could perform in the school musical without a microphone because she blew out the system.
I honestly believe that we were made this stature, Ariana Grande included, because
because you're a powerhouse.
Yeah, people would be intimidated otherwise. You wouldn't approach us. Anyways, so I'm sorry, back to my story. I just wanted to share this. So yeah, when I was 17, I was just around a lot of like big personalities, and then including my sisters. Then I got this internship when I was 19. It was like my very first, like very hands-on, stable internship. I actually no, before that, even before that, I had a music internship. So we were actually checking out all the venues for a startup, all the venues, music venues in the United States where you find talent, and we were going to recruit people to populate the site, kind of like a space for music talent. And I had to learn how to interview there because we had to interview people before for promo videos.
Makes sense.
Right. Then after that, I get an internship at 1035 KTU with Paul Cubby Bryant. He's now at 106.7 Light FM in New York City. He is also many radio hosts, like hidden mentor. People emulate his voice.
Yes.
Yeah, he went on tour with the Backstreet Boys. Like he showed me how to be chill in front of like Selena Gomez at that. I saw that. And then I also witnessed Alex DeTrilio. So she is a host at Sirius XM Hits One. That is like the main channel that they have, like their
okay.
So I watched her give interviews and I listened to how she would give her interviews. And then by the time I was giving my own interviews at the age of like, I think I was like 20, 19, either 19 or 20. Oh, sorry. In between Clear Channel / iHeartRadio, that internship and the Sirius XM internship, I had this, I had this like mini internship to be a journalist for my sorority sisters blog, which actually became the blog that I continued to report on. So, I remember coming in she was like, hey, could you come to this event? I was so awkward. Like Bow Wow was there, T.I. was there, like everyone in the R&B and hip hop world were there, and I was supposed to interview T.I. as this like nervous 19-year-old or 20-year-old. I forgot. I went home and I felt awful for my life.
Why?
I didn't have a script. I didn't know how to interview him.
Oh.
1. 2, it was my first time. You got to shake off the nerves a little bit. And don't get me wrong, that was the highest freaking standard I've ever been on, where I do something that I've never done before. And I actually wrote the article and they loved the article.
Awesome.
Only I didn't expect that. I thought they were going to hate me. What I found out afterwards was they asked me to keep going to events. Years later, I stopped writing and I decided to pick it up again because I wanted practice. You want to hear about how we can take, oh, this is T.I.'s interview, and just bring it all the way up here?
Okay. So
Shannon
we're
Doherty.
raising it up.
Shannon Doherty.
Okay. I know the actress.
You know the actress. Did you know her reputation?
The only reputation I know was what I heard about her not being able to get along with some of the other people that she worked with in the TV show chart.
1. What else?
That's pretty much it because I really don't follow celebrities.
That's okay.
I don't read gossip. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's okay. That it's not necessarily gossip. Many people felt nervous around her. Like they just didn't, because she was a child star, so she wasn't really curbed to understand how to be humble on set.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, coming from an understanding of like she was in that dance movie and then she kept going. But essentially, yeah. But essentially her personality wasn't likable. I'm saying that in the kindest political way. because I still love Shannon Doherty. That's why I'm like, a lot of people did not like her. Like they really didn't like her because of how she would like present herself on set and like how supposedly she was horrible. So I get on this red carpet and I'm so excited to see her because she was on Charmed, and Charmed was one of my favorite episodes. I bring it up. I'm the dumb butt who brings up Charmed because that's like her pain point of her career, right?
I knew she was not happy doing it, but
She was not happy when I asked her about it either. She and I was also the youngest person on that carpet. Of course, people thought I was like I was at the Stand Up to Cancer and the Farrah Fawcett Tex-Mex fundraiser, and they had
okay.
a carpet where I could interview everyone there who was standing up for standing up for a very good cause. And I was so excited because it was a philanthropic event, and I was like, this is the
Mhm.
stuff I need to do. And I'm interviewing her. She gets mad and shies away from me a little bit, and I'm like, oh crap. And everyone on the carpet, they're nervous too because they just saw what happened. And eventually what ended up happening was I was able to kind of get her to warm up a little bit and understand I was coming from a good place.
Right.
No script, but there were questions that I had that were so important, right, to really understand what's going on and why her presence on that carpet was so essential to what was happening.
Makes sense.
By the end of the interview, she hugged me.
Oh.
Yeah. I told my manager that at the time, and he blew his freaking gasket. He was like, she did what? She doesn't do that to anyone. What do you mean?
Yeah, but here's the thing though. You might not have been given a script, but you had thought ahead as to what questions to ask because you knew the importance of the event that you were at.
Yes. And I also knew that everyone at that event was not my generation.
That does make a big difference.
Yes. And another thing that I remember from that event, there was this stigma or stereotype that millennials don't trust or listen to the older generations.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Right? Yeah. This was 2017, 18. I go up to her and I remember asking this because I know that they want to answer this question. So, as these incredibly philanthropic individuals who are really going for a good cause, what advice do you have for people of my generation, young people who also want to contribute to a good cause? And she went in like everything was out on the table. She was like, you do this, you do this. It was great. It was great. And then that's
Right.
what asking more questions that way.
Right. And that's amazing that you had that opportunity to interview so many people who were all in on this fantastic cause and come from all walks of life and have so many different personalities and be able to be so in tune and present to the conversation as to, oh, this just got a little bit awkward. Let me ask a question that I know that she'll be excited about.
Exactly. And not shy away.
And it's those kinds of tools that we learn during interviewing that is really easy to apply to just basic conversations.
Yeah. And another thing, when you're challenged like that, you'll do that. You'll interview anyone under
Yeah.
any circumstance. At this point in time, you can give me literally a person maybe 5 minutes before the interview. I'll sit here and I'll be ready and we'll go because of those experiences.
And the beauty of it is that you can also take that and translate that besides just regular John Doe conversation if you have to present on a stage.
Completely. And the thing is, they're people.
Yeah, they're humans.
They're humans. They're humans. They have sensitivities. They have interests. They have everything that we have. And it's like a lot of people kind of believe that there's this third wall when you come up to a celebrity.
Well, part of that I think is just the whole awe-inspiring. That's whether it be a celebrity on TV, whether it be a sports celebrity, whether it be anyone who has some kind of fame. Oh, that's something I have not yet obtained.
Oh, I see.
You might not see until just now when I explained it to you, because you have had this fantastic life of knowing all of these amazing people. And yes, I'm going to teach you on it.
Thank you. I really don't think of it like that.
I know you don't think of it like that. That's why I'm teasing you about it.
I appreciate the tease, but like that actually gives me a perspective, because when I talk about it with other people, I'm not trying to boast. I'm actually expressing like, this person came from this background and they did this thing, and it's so cool and it's so inspiring to me.
Yes.
Insert name.
And that's why I can tease you about it, because I know that you are coming from this example, from this standpoint as to, this is an amazing experience and I want everyone else to understand what this is like so they can do it themselves. And that's why I'm teasing you a little bit, because some of us don't get that opportunity when we're young. We get that opportunity when we're older. I mean, my goal in life is to do at least one red carpet event. I want to walk the red. I don't have to be in the show. I don't have to be interviewed. I don't have to be on stage. I just want to say I walked the red carpet. I am very easy to please.
You want to do that next week?
Do that when?
Next week? I just fly here.
I'm not able to next week.
Yeah, because
I know that it's coming.
Dude, there's one on the 15th. I can bring you. Like
I don't think I could fly there for the 15th and then turn around and fly down to Florida before the end of the month, because I've got a commitment at the end of the month that I have to keep down in Florida for a week.
I understand. So, folks, so this is kind of where like, I love that I get to talk to Katie about this and bring her with me on, like, I just love the fact that I can bring her places. One. Two, I love the fact that she has the perspective that I'm not seeing, because I've been in this world, but I'm a little kind of just like,
well, okay. And the roles are reversed here, honey, because I am a mom. I have been married for coming up on 24 years. I didn't go to college. I've worked since I was 14 years old. I know that my life is nowhere near as exciting as other people's. So I have it's expanded now, but it was a very closed world that I was a part of, because I didn't think that anything above the regular 9-to-5 grind was a possibility. I sure as heck did not think that I would be on a podcast, or that I would be asked to be interviewing people on summits, or giving presentations. Huh? It actually worked out really well last week. Thank you very much, Marilyn.
Yeah, it was good. I got to hear it. Yeah.
So I appreciate another perspective, because from my standpoint, it shows that it's possible. And if my subconscious brain sees that somebody else has done it, then my subconscious is like, oh, that means it's possible for you too.
Remember that intern?
Yeah.
He had no idea until he got to the red carpet.
But sometimes that's the best part. Sometimes it's not knowing what's coming until all of a sudden it's right there in front of you.
Yeah, well, I didn't know.
Now, granted, he might not have appreciated it in the moment, because he probably felt like he was thrown to the wolves.
I feel like that's how you swim. You run. That's like you learn how to swim when you're in the water. You go. Like you like when you I'm so sorry.
Yes, but there's a difference between having a few lessons and practices before being chucked into the deep end.
Sorry. My way of doing it.
But that's okay. But that's okay, because heaven knows he's probably looking back at it now, going, that was a fantastic lesson. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very, very much, Ace. Versus at the time, he was probably thinking, I don't like you right now.
Well, the funny thing is, like, so the hardest interview I got there in time for.
Well, that's good.
So,
He
like,
probably greatly appreciated that.
yeah, I think so. But it was funny because, like, all right, so I didn't know until afterwards. Like, the feedback conversation when you're talking, when you lead a team or
Right.
anybody, delegating to anybody, you need to have that feedback space.
Yes.
Right. So you need to have that. So we had that feedback meeting. I wanted to know how he felt about it. I wanted to know what he was thinking and how it was going. And he was like, I didn't know I was interviewing the original creator. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm sorry. Want a warning? Do you want a warning next time? Because I think because it was so all right. So after you like a lot of people believe when you do something that seems so unattainable,
Yeah.
right? After you do it like 5 times, it's just a natural part of life.
Yeah. It becomes been there, done that. Sort of.
Sort of. I'm not. I started feeling that. That's kind of why I took a step back from journalism for a bit.
Yeah. Because you don't, because it's not, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. You become comfortable with the situation because you have been there and done that, but you're not jaded by it.
I was getting jaded.
See, and that makes sense as to why you took a step back. So then that way you could do other things and then come back to it when you were ready.
Yeah, in a different way. I can still interview anybody now, right here. Even politicians, even what's it called? Even celebrities if need be. But I really do remember. There was this one time I was standing on a carpet and I was just like,
Oh, you look so bored.
I was so bored. People were passing me. I was trying to get something out of a actress once. And I was like, this is so fake. I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't want to say I'm so sorry to her. I'm tired of the fakeness
Right.
because that's not respectful.
That's not respectful. And the energy that you were in, probably they could sense it.
It could. You know who could sense that it was going to be a good interview?
So
Andy Serkis.
you mentioned him before.
Gollum,
Yes.
Planet of the Apes,
Okay.
Black Panther, and the director of Mowgli in Netflix, the very first Netflix movie that also was released in theaters. Prior to that, Netflix didn't allow people, didn't take their shows to theaters.
I do remember you saying that in the previous episode.
Yes. Andy Serkis, he was in Lord of the Rings. He was Gollum with eyes. By the way, those eyes. It really drew me in there. Like I couldn't let go anymore. I was just like, I'm not bored. I'm like in your eyes. Like he was literally interviewing me right here. And I was just like, all right, this is gonna be a good interview. And that was what I really lived for on those red carpets. Like I wanted the genuine, very sincere, very honest answers coming from these either actors, creators, or whichever you choose, right? Anything fake, I was like, I'm too tired for this. I don't want this. And what was really funny, it was like it was 1 out of 5 interviews
Oof.
that I felt like I had a good interview. Not saying that I didn't conduct the interview correctly, right?
Right.
It was the 1 out of 5 that had the real message that needed to be out there.
And that makes sense to why you were feeling bored with it.
Yeah.
Because you weren't feeling that calling to the people who are not being authentic, open, honest. I don't know what the right word is for it,
Right.
but
Yeah.
but
Eventually. eventually I kind of figured out why I was there. There was somebody there that I needed to meet with that message. I didn't like going through the needle in the haystack kind of thing. That was not fun for me. I didn't like that.
Oh, you mean you didn't like doing 23 interviews just so you can get to the 24th one that was really good?
I would skip people. I'm not even kidding. I would get on that carpet and I remember somebody would go by and I'm like, it's okay. Thank you.
Wow.
And I wasn't doing that to be mean.
No, I'm sure you were not doing it to be jaded or mean or anything else like that. There was something intuitively that was telling you whether or not it was going to be a good interview. I completely understand that. But hearing about it,
yeah, respectfully, I didn't.
It's like, wow, you did not want to be there.
And it actually took an interview like Andy Serkis or Shannon Doherty or who else was an incredible interview? Noah Centineo. He was into All the Boys I Loved before. He was like the main actor. Those interviews were like just amazing. The things that they needed to say, that they needed to communicate to audiences, that was impeccable. That was amazing. And that's why I love what we do when we do our interviews, is because these are messages, these are stories that are actually going to be impactful and help somebody in their daily life.
Yes. And we can, I don't know, I'm sure you can sense it, but I can sense it with the people that we interview as to whether or not they are there with us, present in the moment, or whether it's autopilot and then they get engaged with us.
It takes 30 minutes sometimes, and that's okay.
And that's okay. Sometimes the first bit might be a little bit dry, but we are going to make sure that we are going to get to something that resonates with the people who are listening to the show, that resonate with us, that resonate with the person that we're talking to. Because if we don't hit it off, then the interview is just not going to happen. And that's kind of like a waste of everyone's time.
Exactly. And that's why I respectfully said on those red carpets, it's okay, thank you. Because I don't want to waste their time either. It wasn't me being smug. But that's another thing. For us, it's like we're talking to people on these podcast interviews, knowing that they already have that gem of a story. We know it's there. So it's like being able to pull that out. Sometimes it takes tools. Sometimes it takes how was your day? How are you doing? What is this? Like those are the types of tools that you can use.
Sometimes it does take a little bit to pull it out. But once you do, oh my gosh, it's clear as crystal. It's as good as gold. There's so many different descriptions to describe how when you get that one nugget that just makes the whole episode, that one 10-second blip.
That's it. Yeah, the 10 seconds and then the jovial aspects around it too, right?
Thank you for joining us. We hope that the discussion today will inspire you to take positive action in your life. Until next week, be empowered.